Oh my gosh, guys. I cannot wait for you to meet my girl, Katie Kim. Katie is a seasoned real estate developer and educator with over 30 years experience transforming overlooked urban spaces into vibrant, community-driven developments. She completed her first real estate deal at 16 and later worked at Accenture Technology Labs, where she honed her strategic and financial expertise. She's the founder of the Kim Group and the Kim Group ATX. She's had a bunch of really kind of watershed projects she's worked on. I hope she will make sure that she talks about the bakery project that she had in Peoria, Illinois. Her developer for fee model and educational platform empower others to navigate real estate, leveraging economic incentives and build generational wealth. Katie is known for turning complex challenges into profitable, community enhancing opportunities. Just wait, guys. You're going to see why I love this girl. Here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Power Up Your Life podcast. I am Manny McAllister, and our girl, Kelly Resendez, is still Eat, Pray, Loving in Italy. So I am flying solo again. Today, we have one of my favorite humans in the whole wide world, Katie Kim. Katie, hi. How are
Hello,
you?
Manny. I'm doing amazing. I'm with you.
Oh, girl, love it. So we are definitely soul sisters. I can't
Yes.
wait to dig in. This
Awesome.
woman knows so much about so much stuff I don't know anything about. So I can't wait to give to everyone all of your brilliance. So why don't we just start from the beginning, right? Tell us a little bit about you and your journey and who you are as a human.
Yeah, so I grew up in a construction real estate development family, and I did a lot of weekend warrior family bonding time and went away and didn't want anything to do with the family business, right? Like a lot of us do, we grow up in it. And I came back to it, ran the family construction company for a while, and realized my passion was more on the development side. And started just investing and getting into real estate, but then really wanted to do more and have more of an impact. And so I leaned into that, and I launched our real estate company back in, oh my gosh, many, many moons ago, like 2004. And then launched our development company in 2015, where we do development for fee, which really lets me live my passion and help people take that next step into real estate development. So,
That's beautiful.
yeah.
You make it look so easy. Like that's one thing that someone is an expert when they take something that is so incredibly intense and you just like, oh yeah, obviously you'll just go do, look for that, right? So I'm curious, let's start from the jump.
Okay.
Um, you look at so many grants and so many, tax abatements and so many things as a lay person in real estate investing. I've done some cool stuff, but
Yeah,
this
you have.
this is so far beyond the scope of what it is that I recognize.
Mm.
Maybe for people who are like me that have done a bunch of transactions, but what is the most obvious thing that quasi seasoned investors are missing?
So I think a lot of times what I feel quasi investors are missing is that what you're doing to add value, if you're doing a value add investment or to enhance the community, a lot of times there are incentive dollars and programs that help encourage you to do that, to take that first step and or next step, I should say. And a lot of times it's asking is there money available for this? Is there a program that can help bridge the gap? Or, you know, and you have to ask it a couple of times in a different way, because a lot of times the people who are managing those programs have never used those programs. So they don't really know how to use them, which is kind of a little bit confusing, because a lot of times our clients would go there and be like, well, they said they don't have any money. I'm like, well, you asked for a handout. You didn't say, this is what I'm doing. Do you have any programs for, hiring more people or doing this? And so it's the questions that we go in with that, again, garbage in, garbage out. So it's knowing the right questions. But a lot of times when you enhance an area, there's incentive money that's on the table for that.
It's kind of like how politicians, I forget what politician it was, but we've got to pass this bill to know what's in this bill, right? Like that, the people who are administering these dollars may or may not recognize that they are there. So I really love that as
Yeah.
advice to get super granular, describing what it is that you do, so they
Mhm.
know how they can help you
Yes.
potentially. So now I know, let's say that I have an 18 key motel in a small town in Wisconsin, for instance,
Hmm.
that I would be interested. Like, who do I go to? Who is my first call if I want to go see if there are incentives?
Yeah, the first call usually is the economic development council or committee, depending on, how they call themselves. But the EDC or the city, and a lot of times they have a development office or a real estate office or even an economic incentive office or development office. Those are the ones that know the programs. And so a lot of times if
Hmm.
you go in and say, what are the economic incentive programs that we have in the city? They'll give you the table, which has the graph of like, we need this, this, this. And then you figure out like, does my plan fit in those programs? Does my plan fit into those districts? Is the property I want to develop in an area that has some incentives like TIF or enterprise zone? So you're going to step into that. And it really then even goes back further to like building that network, building the people who um, can help you answer those questions and let you know about those programs. A lot of times the council will come to me and say, Katie, this is being proposed. Is this going to be good or bad for our community and why? And so, I'll give them my insight because it's like, you're not thinking about this. This is going to be an unintended consequence of this. Like, let's move here.
Right.
And so they'll understand that because a lot of times those politicians have never developed real estate, they've never invested, so they don't know it. They leverage other people who are experts, and so being able to have a seat at that table is really great.
Absolutely huge, right? And
Yeah.
you only get there though if you're going an inch wide and a mile deep. Katie is a developer in Austin and in Peoria, Illinois. Like, you are absolute experts and sought after thought
Mhm.
leader there,
Yeah.
and if you were going to try to start developing in like Santa Fe, New Mexico, you'd kind of be starting from scratch. That's a thing that I talk about a lot in my multifamily stuff. It's like you got to be an expert where you're at to really be able to know all of the things. I love that, getting granular in a market too. So,
Yeah.
tell me this. In this, you have been in this development world since you could drive a car,
Yeah.
like you forever. So I'm curious, like the path to getting where you're at. Like, there's always, for everyone, there's a stuck time. There's an,
Yes.
oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. What did I get myself into feeling? When you get there, what is something that you do to get yourself out that's really actionable for someone who feels like they're there right now?
So a lot of times when I feel that I'm stuck, action is the best way to reduce anxiety and to get out of our head. So what's the one actionable item that you can take? And my coach always poses this question to me, like, if time and money were not an option, like, what would you do, right? Or if you didn't have any restrictions, what would you do? You can start with that, and some people can think that way. A lot of times people can't because they're such in a spin, and I don't know how to do this. I don't know, and you get to that is start surrounding yourself with people who have been there and done it and
Mhm.
ask the questions like, this is, how did you get into this is where I'm at, what's my next step? Because oftentimes we worry about step 8, 9, and 10 in the process where it's 1, 2, and 3, right? It's what is 1, 2, and 3, and
I
that's where
love
we
that.
need to go.
The analogy that I give about that is, I live in Chicago. If I want to drive to New York, I'm
Yeah.
not thinking about Poughkeepsie. Google Maps tells me drive up 500 feet, turn left. You just need to think about that next right step to figure out what you're doing in the next step. I'm going to totally quote you that actions reduce anxiety. That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Tell me about some unconventional strategies, some things that you do that you fully believe in your core, that many people might not, that they might think you're crazy for?
So, well, one I recently did is drove 18 hours as opposed to flying, but I actually love a good road trip to get my brain clear. So I'll go with my audiobooks and something inspiring and just me in the open road. Maybe I'll take my fur girl Charlotte with me, but really just get away from all the distractions. And when you do that, not that I don't take calls, not that I don't do any of that, but when you do that, you realize, am I utilizing my brain or am I just a minion in the process? Because when you're in a car and you're driving, you can't type a lot of emails, you can't do a lot of the busy work that a lot of times we go to because it's safe. You focus on, what can I use with my brain? How can I get work done with my brain? Conversations, connections, conversations, connections, cash flow, right? So like you focus on that on the drive, and people are like, oh, you must have lost so many days of work. I'm like, I probably did 4 days of work in that 18 hours, because all I did was focus on moving that revenue needle forward and moving onto that.
Yeah, you can't do the thing that you should be handing off if you're
Mm-hmm.
driving.
Yeah.
That's I completely agree. So my I have an asset that's a 6-hour drive away, and whenever I go, not only do I tear through the audiobooks, but man, do I get some good thinking time going, because that's really, that type of slowing down is the thing that
Yeah.
that really moves the needle.
Yeah. We have
Tell
to
me
slow down
about,
to speed up. We have
you
to.
got to slow
Otherwise,
down
we
to
have
speed up.
too much stimulus, right? Like we have too many sources of information. And especially now, we can inundate ourselves with just researching on that.
Right. And I mean, so many people get wrapped around the axle in that way. You got to start moving forward, and that's how you see if that next step is right. So I'm curious about your daily rituals. What are some things that you do to position yourself to win the day? When you're setting yourself up at the beginning of the week, at the beginning of a day, talk to me about your daily rituals to win that day in particular.
Yeah. So to win the day, I really start with I do the miracle morning, the savers routine a little bit. I adjust it, but I don't, as much as I can, I don't check my email. I don't check the news, don't check social media. I go straight to feeding my brain something positive. And then I go into, learning something, journaling, and then really list, what are my 3 things I need to do today, and
Mm,
focus on that, and make sure that my schedule is in alignment with that. And then really, the sync up meeting I just started to implement with my VA is, we sync on, like, what are the issues of the day, what are the things she can handle, does my schedule reflect my daily needs and what we need to move forward. And you know all that to sync up in like 30 minutes, like, or less,
yeah.
because there's so many points in time where our assistant could handle something for us, but we're like, well, I can just do this, I can, da da da.
Mm,
And it's like, yes, but should you? Because what you're permitting, you're promoting. So you're permitting people to come to you with these lower level
right.
tasks and things to do, where you know the script I give, Sherry, is, hey, this is Sherry, Katie's assistant. I thought you would appreciate a more speedy response, because she can get to my email faster, because I'm in meetings, I'm in interviews, I'm in different things, project sites. And so a lot of times I'm not in front of my email, but we oftentimes think of email as that, like, if I send it, she'll respond right away. Or if I text her, she'll respond. And a lot of times, efficient and busy people are not waiting for a text or on call. Like right now, my phone is on focus, right? So if somebody would
Yeah.
text me right now, I wouldn't even know about it for another 20 minutes. So enabling my team, who is equipped to handle certain things, be able to handle that. And so I get out, and then it's like, oh, I handled this, I handled this, I handled this. Okay, great. You don't need me. And that's, I think, the best part of replacing ourselves, really.
You train people how to treat you. You
Yep.
absolutely do, and that includes
Oh,
the
yeah.
team members that you've got. Like, if they know you're just gonna solve a problem for you, then they don't do the critical thinking that it takes to maybe fix a problem. And when you are unreachable in an interview, on an 18-hour drive, whatever, their chance to prove to themselves that they can figure it out, and then be more self-sufficient and confident in their own work, like, what a gift you're giving them.
Absolutely.
Actually, so our fellow GoBundance women member, Beth Azor, one of my favorite things that she says, that if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant,
Yes.
right? And if you're not handing stuff off, if you don't have a list of things that are rote, and you are leading some organization or just your own business, then you are the one getting the coffee. You got to get an assistant to handle some of those things. Um, Tell
Yes.
me some stuff about clarity. We
Oh,
talked a little bit about getting to, this is my endpoint, and I can't get wrapped around the axle about steps 2 and 3. When I'm on steps 2 and 3, step 47, right? So when you need clarity of that North Star, something beyond the driving, which by the way, Sarah Blakely, that's her hack too. She always drives
oh
to
yeah.
get clarity. So you're basically Sarah Blakely. Tell me some things that you do to create clarity for yourself.
So clarity, I have to free my mind. And a lot of times I will again go and I'll journal, I'll go walk in the woods at the drive time. But really the clarity of digging three deep with myself
Mm,
mentally of like, why is this bothering me? Why is this important? Why am I spinning on this? Like what's really why? And I find a lot of times I will talk to myself either out loud or sometimes I'll record myself and be like, this is what I'm thinking, da da da. And just even talking out loud, if I don't have my coach or I don't have a trusted person, because that's always a really fine line to know who gets into your brain space. Because if they don't have the same morals, values, insight, ambition, integrity, you could be putting a toxic source into your brain and not even knowing it. So sometimes
mm,
it's just sitting in why am I spinning, going deep, asking those questions. I mean, a good leader should teach people how to think so that
mm,
they think like they want them to, so that when the leader's not there, they know how to perform, right? Like, for example, on job sites, anytime there's a problem, I always ask my guys three questions like, okay, what are your three solutions? Like, come to me with three solutions. And then, okay, what are the pros and cons of all of them? Right. And then three, if this was your money, what would you do? Because if I'm not there and they make a decision, I want them to know and be able to say with confidence, Katie, I thought about this. I believed about it, and I'm willing to put my money on the line if I screwed this decision up. So
mm.
then they're starting to think and they're solving problems that when I'm not there or I'm not available or accessible right away, they're starting to think that way.
Well, and think with the filter that you've armed them with. I absolutely love
Yes.
that. What are your three solutions? What are the pro or cons? What would you do if it's your money? Every single time, if you're training them to think with that,
Mhm.
if you're not able to be reached, they're probably going to make something that's informed in the direction you want them to be. And talking about the trusted people, that's why we do wisdom circles in GoBundance Women. This idea of having these brilliant minds asking you questions to
Mm.
get to the core of what you're talking about or what you need to fix your own problem. I love the chance to get all of that time on a biweekly basis with you to fix the stuff that's in my own head. So I
Yeah.
completely agree with that.
And
Katie,
even,
go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, and even in the wisdom circle, like what you said of how you step into that process, you're asking questions, you're seeking to understand, you're not judging, you're making sure you get all the details. Because even if I present a problem to somebody, the real root of the problem may be 3 or 6 questions deep, but I'm not
Hmm.
telling you because we all have those guards up, right? Like, yeah, I'll tell you this problem, but I don't really want you to know this. That is all with the
Hmm.
emotions with it. And so having that trusted advisory and that circle where they can start to ask questions and kind of peel back the onion, then it gets to that root of like, what's the real issue here? Is it this or is it really this?
And I think it's so important too that when you are serving as that trusted person to lead with curiosity and no judgment,
Yes.
because
Yes.
you're being trusted in this really deep way with something that's to the core. So can you ask questions to that person? Because if they figure out for themselves, it's like if you're a parent, you understand that if the kid figures out something for themselves, they're going to do it in a different way than if mom told them to.
Yep.
So if I or you figure out something for yourself, it's going to hit in a different way. So the questions and the curiosity, so incredibly important. Katie,
Yeah.
you have dropped. some knowledge bombs per usual. I want to tell you a couple that I have notes on. Um, I call the EDC, the Economic Development Committee, in whatever municipality you own property or are buying property, because I think so many real estate investors are leaving money on the table. I know that I have, given the three things that we've talked about in our conversations.
Yep.
I love that actions reduce anxiety, and that the time and money are not an issue. So what are you going to do if you take that thought experiment? That's really going to clear some things up. And you said something to the three C's: conversations, connection, and cash flow is really your jam of what you get into. And I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to write down some filters that every single one of my team members is going to run their thoughts through before coming to me or whoever their superior is. So thank you for
Yeah.
informing my life in that way today. So you have
Yes.
given so much, Katie, and you give so much to GoBundance and to my life and everybody whose life that you touch. So tell us, we want to give to you. What is in, we talk a lot about needing to be ready with your ask. We talked about this last week after your 18-hour drive, that, what is a resource or an introduction that would change the ballgame for you?
Oh, love that question. So, a resource or an introduction that would change the ballgame for me is somebody who is a real estate investor looking to get into development, and or a business owner that is leveling up their business and wants to incorporate real estate in their strategy, that needs a mentor, that needs guidance, that needs a
Mm.
trusted person to guide them through the process. That is our target avatar, our target connection for the Real Estate Development Academy. And really, the reason why I created that was there's so many people who want to get into that, but they don't know who to trust. They don't know where to go. They don't know how to, pick people's brains. And that's really the motivation behind it.
There's a lot of fakers in real estate, but a whole extra lot of fakers in the world of development. And I can totally say with my heart that you are the real deal, homegirl.
Mm.
I am so glad that you're giving the world your expertise, because it's so incredibly important for people who want to dig into that play in real estate. So what is the best way for our listeners to get in touch with my girl, Katie Kim?
So you can go to our website at katiekim.com or find us on pretty much all the social platforms at thekatiekim.com. So the Katie Kim. Sorry, I'm just so used to rattling off that website. So for the socials, the Katie Kim.
Beautiful. Or you can
That's
find her at a hockey rink, because that's where she spends 92% of her free time. The kiddos are big hockey players. Katie's a big hockey player. Katie, thank you so much for joining us on the Power Up Your Life podcast, brought to you by
Awesome.
GoBundance Women. If you are listening and you want to get asked great questions like Katie asks of her girls, or figure out where you're leaving money on the table, or anything when it comes to connection and conversation and cash flow, look us up at GoBundanceWomen.com. We would like and share. Make sure you're telling all your friends about this incredible episode with Katie Kim, and we will see you on our next episode. Have a
Awesome.
great day.